I want to officially call to order the Board of Trustees Human Service Committee. Trustee Muhammad Chair, Trustee Stubbs, and Trustee House as members. We're calling this to order. I'll take the attendance. Trustee House. Trustee House, are you present? He's present. Trustee Stubbs, are you present?
Present.
And Trustee Muhammad. We have a quorum. We'll just continue with the meeting. No old business, only new business. If you refer to your, this meeting is starting Friday, December 15th at 4:32 p.m., December 15th. It's real basic. This is the sale of the Melanie Fitness Center. The public might as well know we've just sold the Dorchester, and it'll be probably announced at our next board meeting, but we announced it at the last board meeting, I believe. And now we're trying to relinquish another property, which is the Melanie Fitness Center, or as it's called in the budget, the Recreational Center. So you'll hear Recreation Center also. If we could have Bishop Lance Davis come forward, and while he's coming forward and he's going to do a presentation, a prospective buyer for the Melanie Fitness Center, I just want to give you an idea of the loss that the village has incurred over the last 7 years from 2010 up until now. $1,538,987.03. The Melanie Fitness Center has had issues since its inception in about the year 2001. I think that's when it opened. I know I started working there a couple of years later. And it's never really, from my understanding, been able to secure a profit. And the government is not in the business to make profits. And Trustee House can attest to that. He's a chief financial officer, and he can understand and agree that a village or a municipality or government is not in the business to make a profit. It collects funds and it pays for services such as police, fire, public works. There was never a business plan put together that I know of with the Melanie Fitness Center, so it's been a great loss. We have an opportunity now to sell the facility. We have a person who has an interest not only in the fitness center, but a vested interest in this village, who's been over at the center on 142nd Street for the last, 15 years, Bishop Lance? So he has an investment in this community, and he'd like to do a presentation on his interest in the facility and what he plans to offer to the village for the Melanie Fitness Center. Bishop Lance Davis.
Thank you and good evening, Trustee Muhammad, Trustee Stubbs, Trustee House, Trustee Denton. Thank you for your presence. And to the members of the community at large, my name is Bishop Lance Davis, and I'm the senior pastor of New Zion Covenant Church, located at 14200 Chicago Road. Some of you all remember the building as being the Dalton Expo. We assumed not only the building and purchased the building, but also assumed the tax liabilities for the building, and then chose to keep it as an entity where people can still get their checks cashed or get their toenails done, to make it so that it has utility for the village, but at the same time to take a piece of property that I saw to be a headache and a heartbreak for the community, where there's a lot of activities where there was a lot of criminal activity taking place. And so that being said, I'd like to just read this presentation to you, to the trustees and the department heads present. In a recent article from the Center for Disease Control stated that sitting is the new smoking. In other words, living a sedentary lifestyle is as bad or worse than smoking, and the mortality rate of the former proves this. The Dalton zip code is home to persons who are more likely to die from complications of diabetes and heart disease than any place else in the state of Illinois. Additionally, women who acquire breast cancer and men who have prostate cancer are more likely to die from these diseases if they live in southern Cook County. Now more than ever, Americans need to develop a physical fitness regimen just to stay alive. And all too often, location becomes a barrier to establishing a dependable and sustainable workout routine. An additional barrier to working out regularly is having lack of access to facilities that are fully resourced and equipped. To this end, our organization, Book Incorporated, submits this informal letter of intent to purchase the Melanie Fitness Center located at 14900 Greenwood Road. Acquiring this facility would allow us to broaden our deepened capacity to create a healthier Dalton. My wife of over 30 years has been a medical doctor serving the South Cook area for over 18 years. Our organization, Book, has been a social service and health information resource since 1999. Currently, Book is contracted with the Department of Children and Family Services to provide family advocacy service centers for children and families under care. Additionally, Book is one of the premier robotics organizations for youth in Northern Illinois. Book also operates the Joseph Storehouse Food Pantry, which is celebrating its 12th year, by the way, and provides meals for over 31,000 individuals annually. 2 years ago, it was 51,000, and in 2008, we served a record 72,000 individuals right there through 14200 Chicago Road. Our focus on developing a holistic center with state-of-the-art fitness equipment, a clean and regularly renovated a clean and newly renovated pool and spa area would draw potential members from surrounding suburbs. Our intention to improving the overall atmosphere would make this holistic center the go-to place for seniors and youth alike. Our plans include the development of a nutritious snack, smoothie, and salad counter that will be available to both members and the community at large. The center would be the place to go for those health enthusiasts who yearn for healthy foods in the middle of the workday. Finally, our plans to enhance Zumba, yoga, dance, and aquasize classes, as well as rehabilitative services from Metro South and Ingalls hospitals would eventually require the expansion of the facility on its south end. It is our intention to present a formal letter of intent to the village board if and only if the residents and stakeholders of the village of Dalton are in agreement with this development. Thank you for the privilege and the honor to serve you for the past 15 years at 14200 Chicago Road, and for the opportunity to submit this report. Respectfully submitted, Bishop Lance Davis. So I have here, trustees, a lot of information. Actually, I have about somewhere around 100 pages of information on Melanie Fitness, as well as information on the disrepair or the lack of repair that is needed on much of the equipment inside of the facility. It is a huge loss. It's a business that is losing and bleeding through the nose on a daily basis. It has nothing to do with the attitude of the people, because the people there are beautiful people and they want to operate a very professional and efficacious business. The problem has been that of resourcing, and if you don't have resourcing, then you don't have the potential for innovations. And really, the shortcoming of the current Melanie Fitness is that of there's no investment capital for innovations. If you think about it, 142nd and Chicago Road, right down the street, if we weren't paying the amount of money that we're paying in taxes on an annual basis, it would be our desire to brighten that whole corner up, because I desire to have our community to look as good or better than Hinsdale or Barrington Hills or any place else. These places that we always frequent and go to eat our meals, that's fine, but we're paying tax dollars into those communities, and it's our desire and our goal to make it so that we're able to have people to stay here in this community and to spend their money, and so businesses and others might be able to pay taxes. This is one other thing that we do as it relates to investing in the Dalton community, and that is that we have also developed a corporation, an LLC called Kinsman Development, and we've invested about $800,000 in private real estate in Dalton, and we're actually rehabbing those homes and placing people in those homes who have gone through the book training program so that they'll be able to purchase those homes in 2 years. So we have hands-on
Here in Dalton.
in Dalton. And so we have hands-on the folks so that they understand how to be good neighbors, and the goal is to be able to get them into a mortgage loan within 2 years after coming into the property. So I'm open for any questions you may have.
Yes. What I did, Bishop Lance, is I invited the manager and one of the trainers, and I see we have maybe 1 or 2 members of the Melanie Fitness Center, and I want them to come up, vent, express themselves, unedited, unencumbered by time, to let us know what you'd like to see done at that facility, and especially for Mr. Fields, some of the frustrations that you may have had that you should express. And when I say unencumbered, I mean that you should speak the truth, regardless to whom or what, that there are no repercussions in what you believe and say, because it's the truth from your experience. I know, Ms. Williams, you've been a member probably since, what, 01, 02? Okay, so you have some experiences that you may want to articulate, and that way Bishop Lance can hear some of the concerns and issues, so that going into this venture, God willing, we can make sure that all of that's resolved. So if you could, you can line up and make your statement. If you would stand close by, Bishop Lance, that we can respond. So those members or employees or contractors from the Melanie Fitness, if you'd like to take the mic, please.
Good evening, trustees. I'd like to thank you, brother, for making that presentation. I am a fitness professional for the past 40 or 50 years, and I have been in the business. I have worked at exclusive clubs, and I have worked at some of the worst clubs. Melanie Fitness is a fitness center that is a family center as well. And structurally, at the time it was built, it could accommodate the village. But because this is a village does not mean that that structure or its programs or what you have to offer has to be that of a village. There are some internal things that need to be corrected. But in your presentation, I did hear some wonderful things. But I did not hear established programs, how to maintain those individual village residents that are there now. The upgrades, there are some structural things that need to be changed. There is no mention of any programs. When we say rehabilitative, there's things called rehab exercises and senior exercises. And if it is a community and if it's for the village, you have to incorporate your teens and your youth. So it has to be a complete design that is going to be effective and is going to make a profit. Melanie Fitness is one of the biggest fitness facilities in the suburbs and in this area that has the most aquatic programs. It has a wonderful pool, but there are different desires and interests for those that want to become members. Having nutritional programs, weight loss programs, being attached to internal medicine, such as rehab facilities, whatever your plans are, who's coming in, who's counseling that, who's making decisions, what committees are you having? Are you having town hall meetings with the community when you make those plans? Because these are the people that right now are going to be the ones that will stay in your club. I have witnessed, I've been there 1.5 years, and I have seen the same people come and maintain that membership, and they're 50 and over. And that is primarily where most of your income is coming in. But because we cannot, or it has not been, things have not been updated. The equipment is so old. I'm looking at almost $400,000 that's worth of new equipment and things that needs to be changed. Program directors, fitness instructors, directors, there have to be all these departments need to be covered, because a general manager cannot run a facility, train a facility, clean a facility. You have to have appropriate staff. And so it's very, very hard even for the staff members that they have there now, and they're tripling up. They're doing a lot of things that they're either not trained to do, not qualified to do, but they have the hearts and the desires to please the members. So keep in mind, when you go back and do all those research and those surveys and review all the other clubs, bring the standards up so that it is not a village club, but it's an outstanding, pristine club. What is that club that's over there on 100 and
South Holland, 170th Street?
Yes, right. So, I mean, this is what you're competing with. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Go ahead.
If I can, I want to ask Bishop Davis a couple question or two, but I really want to say that I believe that we need to make sure we have a competitive bidding process for this.
Sure.
I understand your letter of intent, and I know the good work that you've done in the community, so we've known each other for time. My question would be, could you speak to what would be your intention or desire for the current staff that'll be there? How would you take care of them? Because I know you take care of people really well. As well as, can you speak a little bit more to your commitment to how, if your letter of intent is accepted, your desire to make this a great place to benefit Dalton?
Good, thank you. First of all, thank you for those comments. And as it relates to having a little insight on how to improve the program, I'm like you, so that it's not a village club, but that it's a pristine club. It's one that everybody from every community would want to go to, like other people from other communities go to South Holland. I just would say that as it relates to operations and the development of the club itself, I would certainly call on people like Paul Hawkinson, who I'm on the executive director of our denomination. Paul Hawkinson is the CFO, and Peter Hawkinson, no relation. Actually, Paul Hawkinson was with myself and Anthony Fields just a few days ago. We operate on the north side, not far from North Park Theological Seminary, 100,000 square foot facility, which is a facility. It's a health fitness center. It's holistic, and it meets the needs of that whole north side community near Foster and Western. So, in order to help us envision how it should be run professionally, because they depend on Swedish Covenant Hospital, all of the rehab patients come through there. You've got all of the doctor's offices who are referring for services, for rehab services after a stroke or after an injury, that they're going to this facility. And so when you talk about a business that's able to get to make a profit, the way that I envision the profit being made is through those services that are rendered by the hospitals as it relates to rehab services. So having folks to come in. There is a need for expansion, there's no doubt about it, but there's a need to operate it for 2 solid years prior to the expansion project, just so that it can become a club where people know, well, those who are already members, they're already members, we want to keep them. In order to get new members, because of word of mouth, we want them to go back and say, you got to come and see the improvements that have been made in the pool. And then, Trustee, as it relates to the current staff, one of the things I would say, I've been to Melanie's no fewer than, I would say, announced 5 times, unannounced an additional 6 times, just to observe the staff and what they're doing. And you're absolutely right. They're overworked. I know the manager is overworked, and there's a great expectation that is placed upon them. I don't know if you all have ever heard of Popeye's Chickens, but my family, we brought the first 7 Popeye's Chickens to Chicago, Illinois. Prior to that, my father owned 2 McDonald's back in the late 60s. So all while I wanted to preach, my father made me work in his business. So he said, preach to the chickens. So my thing is that that customer service is something that I've always held near and dear, but also worker satisfaction, employee satisfaction, making sure that the work environment is a place that is lively, that is trustworthy and transparent. So I am with you on that. The current staff, I find them to be conscientious, committed, and with the little bit that they have to work with, they're able to produce a lot. And I'm very, very, I applaud the work that they do currently. It would be my desire to be able to build a program that is built around the historicity of the Melanie's Fitness, but also around the hospitality of the people who currently work there. The second thing is that the commitment to just beautifying it, I'm relentless. I don't believe that our community should look any worse. I don't think it should look, I think our community should look just like South Loop. I think the only reason why it doesn't is because we're limited. I think that the reason why we don't have professional services is because we don't expect it for ourselves. There are great expectations that I have for the village of Dalton. Before this time capsule is opened up outside of the old village hall, I would like for us to not open up and be ashamed about what Dalton has become, but I'd like for us in a few years to be able to open it up and say, man, we have dwarfed whatever that was back then, and now we are a village that is on the rise. And so I say that to say that I believe that one of the great magnets of the community could be, as you turn down Greenwood, that you're able to, I don't work out, but I do love those salads that they offer. Or I don't work out, but I got to get to my Zumba classes or my step classes because this is physical activity. And again, having rooms dedicated for that, not the front lobby, but having rooms dedicated for that. My commitment is that I will work feverishly to make sure that we have the funding necessary. And you're absolutely right. It is a huge investment in this center in order to bring it up to standards, to modernize it, and to make the improvements necessary. I think there's about a total of maybe 30 improvements that need to be made. Some of them are mechanical. But that would be my commitment, to not only make it into a workable situation and into a place that Daltonites will be able to say that I am excited and I'm proud about our fitness center, but at the same time a place that when you drive, you begin to start looking at the fact that this is a community that is respecting herself, and it's a community that should look just as good or better than any community up north or in the western suburbs.
I have a question for you. If I'm a member of the Melanie Fitness, and I've been a member, as I mentioned, a member we have here now who's been there since probably the beginning, should I be concerned about my membership, whether I'm a Silver Sneakers member, whether I've had a discounted membership, whatever my status is as a member? What concerns should I have?
The only concern that you would probably have is that if you're conscientious about your physique, there will be more people around you. That's the only thing. The goal is to get more members in the club. Outside of that, the goal is to make it so that everybody who is currently a member feels super proud about being a member. That the things, the aesthetics that you see when you walk into a place speaks volumes as it relates to the ownership of that place. And so I would say that there's no concern other than the fact that it's an aggressive program to build it not just into any old kind of club, but into an exquisite place. And remember, I've mentioned this word, holistic. And that is that folks ought to be able to go there and learn how to get involved in meditation and yoga and some other mind strengthening exercises, as well as body strengthening exercises. One other thing I would say about the staff, and that is when you look at those contracted folks who are providing those ancillary services and those aqua-size classes and what have you, these are folk who have been committed, and they've been there, you know, in one case since the very beginning of the Melanie Fitness Center, and others just have some longevity being there. So I think that one of the driving forces that keeps people at Melanie's is that they have a relationship with the folks who are providing services there already. That's something that I don't think that we should disrupt.
And I want to bring a little clarity to Trustee House mentioned a bidding process. We've had two other investors to look at it. Aperion, which you all are familiar with, they have hundreds of housing facilities for seniors. One is located at 142nd and is that Blackstone?
Blackstone.
Where the old Hostess cakes. They looked at it, they had some interest, and then it went away. And we had another private investor who looked at it and lost interest in it. And Bishop was the third person to look at it, and of course he fell in love with the property. And I'm being kind by saying he fell in love with the property. He started doing backflips in the lobby. And again, I have an intimate relationship with the fitness center, and I know it's one of the best things. It's one of the few things that the village of Dalton has that we can be proud of. The management has to be improved. We have some infrastructural things that have to be improved. What we will do to work with you, Bishop Davis, we'll go through the building with a fine-tooth comb with one of the engineers by the name of Scott Gilmore. He's an electrician, carpenter, HVAC, you name it. And we already have a list that I received from you, correct, Mr. Fields, of the improvements, repairs that need to be made. I think it was like 10 sheets. I got that from you, right? Yeah, through Ken Gray, that's right. And that, along with the other, we'll put together so that you're not walking into a deal that you'll be blindsided, because we want to make this as clean and transparent as possible to bring some needed improvement into the Village of Dalton. That's approximately a 30,000 square foot facility. There are no indoor pools of that size that I believe that's in the Southland. Is that correct, Wendell? I don't even think LA Fitness's pool is as big as that. I don't even think South Holland uses their pool. I think they closed it down at one time.
Or do they?
Yeah. So we have some shining stars within the fitness center. Wendell didn't tell all of his background, but he also trained President Obama when he lived in Hyde Park, and he would come back, and that's when you lived in Hyde Park, I'm guessing, at that time. So I got into personal training through Wendell, through ACE. So he's the one that introduced me to personal training. We have professional staff there that care about the people, and we just want to improve upon that. I don't want to have anyone with any kind of fears or apprehension or to leave here with any type of rumors that are negative, because we want this to be a transparent process. That's why I ask all of you to come to the mic. Whatever issues, concerns, fears that you may have, bring them to the public and let's address them. Anybody else that want to address this body?
Trustee Muhammad,
Yes.
before anyone else
Yes.
comes, I would want to say this as it relates to why those other two folks probably walked away,
Yes.
those other potential investors, and why others investors would. That you learn in business school, and I know Trustee House knows this, that, well, you don't buy a failing business. It is not advisable. You never buy a business that is failing. There has to be some other salient features to the business that would make you want to buy it, and it has to go beyond location. So right now, the business is failing in a tremendous way. It is a business, and it is not able to sustain itself. It's not a sustainable business or enterprise. I believe that that's why we need to bring attention to the positives of it, because investors are not going to stand around and wait to see the positives of it, and they're not all, into community because they just love community. It's about making profits. If it's a profit-making entity only, then investors just will shy away from it, because the on paper, it just doesn't make sense to your typical investor. But it makes sense to me. It makes sense to the folks who are with me, primarily because this is our community, and I believe that it can become another bright star within the community. I just wanted to reiterate that.
Thank you so much. Ms. Williams?
Good evening, everybody. Georgia William Dalton. Our main concern is about the staff there. We've been there with the staff member, and as you said, they are committed, and we are family orientated. And I know mostly when a new owner come in, they bring their own people in and push the one that has worked so hard in the back. We're hoping this don't happen at Melanie, because we are family, and we would like to maintain family. Ebony, Keisha, even the new manager, Anthony, we are all family. They look out for us. We work together. So if you sell Melanie, we just say, please don't forsake our staff that we have there already, because if you do that, you might be opening up a can of worms. And another thing about South Holland, you were saying the pool. Which pool are you speaking of?
170th Street.
No, I'm saying are you speaking of the whirlpool or the swimming pool? Swimming pool? Okay, but I go there for classes, and they are now the whirlpool. They did close down the other day for clean and renovation.
They were closed down for a few years, and they've opened up probably
Okay,
recently. I
yeah,
don't
right,
have
they
been-
did. They pools are beautiful. Okay,
Is
all
it
right.
bigger than our pool at Melanie?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't do they pool. I have worked, done workout in the pool classes, but I just deal with Melanie Pool because I like the instructors. So we just asking Bishop Lance, whatever you all do, Trustee Muhammad, Trustee Stubbs, Trustee Howe, please don't forsake us. Please do not. We look forward to Melanie. Melanie has been a life-saving for a lot of us, even me, with my back and all other issues. I look forward to going to Melanie every day. Thank you. God bless you.
Good afternoon, trustees,
Good afternoon.
Dalton residents. My name is Anthony Fields. I'm the current general manager at Melanie Fitness Center. Trustee, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to kind of speak in terms of my experience thus far at Melanie. I started at Melanie last November 7th, 2016 to current. I've been managing that facility. First off, I would like to say it has been a great experience, some good, some bad, but for me, I look at everything with positivity. Glass half full instead of half empty. There's great people at Melanie Fitness Center. Wonderful community of people, young people, middle age, senior citizens, all race, all come from all walks of life. Good people, good trainers, good staff, and it's been a great experience again. I have had a lot of great people here in the village of Dalton to help me with that facility, such as people I reach out to for whether it be questions, comments, concerns, advice, whatever. The mayor, our financial director or in charge of finance, Ms. Yvonne Redmond, Ms. Janice Johnson, even our HR director, Ms. Angela Blatcher. They've helped in a lot of ways because, yes, I have been understaffed this entire year. And I'm even more understaffed than what I started out because we've lost some people along the way. Originally, I had about four staff members that worked the front desk. I only have 3 now. And those hours vary. We're open from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. I have 2 maintenance staff workers, 5 days a week, 4 hours or 5 hours a day. One person works 4 hours a day, another person works 5 hours a day. I'm sure you can kind of see the math on this. They work Monday through Friday. We're open 7 days a week. The biggest complaints about the Melanie Fitness Center has been the lack of resources, or as you were saying, finances for equipment, as well as being understaffed. So the cleanliness of the facility. I have done, I believe, everything that I can possibly do in my powers. And I just feel like I can accept constructive criticism all day. And I always have room to improve. That doesn't disappoint me to have that said. But to have it said on several occasions as if I'm not doing my job, that kind of, it bothers me a bit because I have worked and worked. I get there 9 a.m., sometimes come in earlier to work out. I'm there sometimes to close 10 p.m. I've mopped, I've swept, I've washed windows. I've powered washed steam rooms. I have done everything in that place. Clean bathrooms, clean the gym, the facility. I've done everything. There's nothing in that place that I don't know, and I've only been there a year. The first month I was there, I assessed the whole place. I found out some of the biggest issues in that place was the finance of the place. Why is this place not making any money? Why is it not generating a significant amount of revenue? The first thing I found out was, well, as you were saying to Wendell, he's one of our instructors, and I admire Wendell. He does a great job in training and what he does, but unfortunately, we are it's a great thing and a bad thing, because we are one of the only clubs that offer free classes, complimentary classes. No other place does that. Not too many places. And then with the fee that we charge versus what other facilities charge, one of the biggest reasons we're not in competition with anyone or generating revenue is because Melanie has been sucked dry from the inside out. That's just my personal opinion. When the staff or the independent contractors are being paid way more than what they should, and I'm not taking away from their credibility nor their experiences or what they're great at doing. What I'm saying is, when I got there, people were getting paid on staff payroll, and they were also getting paid per class. It just didn't make sense to me. I had one person when I first walked, the first day there, told me he was the director of aquatics. And I said, director of aquatics? I didn't know we had such a position. That sounds more like I'm the general manager, so if I'm the general manager, if you're a director, then you're right here with me. Then I found out from HR, we don't have such a position. So why is this guy getting paid on my staff payroll, and I walk in the morning and he sleep on the chair? It just didn't make sense to me. We have personal trainers there who pay nothing to train there. And now all of this that's happening was happening before I got there. So I've been cleaning up what was already in place and established since the day I got there. So yes, it is understaffed, it is undermanned. The finances were out of control and still are, quite frankly. But it was, South Holland, I worked at I'm sorry, let me give you this, and I'm trying to brush this fast. I worked at East Bank Club a couple years. I worked at Chicago Hilton Towers Athletic Club, and I also worked at South Holland Rec Center for 2.5 years, right before I came to the Village of Dalton. So I have been used to quality, very well taken care of facilities where the people who are over those facilities frequent, but not at Melanie. I worked at South Holland for 2.5 years. I seen every elected official in South Holland there on a weekly basis. I think I've seen you before there, I've seen the mayor before there, and that's it. I'm sorry. Apologize, Trustee. And no, by no means am I saying this in a negative way. What I'm saying is, if we should be concerned about a village facility, then I believe the people in the village should be concerned about it more than the general manager and its employees. There's a young lady who's been there from almost the conception. She gets there at 5 a.m. in the morning and opens by herself. Little old lady, this tall. It shouldn't be. But I don't have the staff to do it. When I come back Monday morning, I have 10 to 15 complaints about the cleanliness of the facility. What can I do about it? No one's there on the weekends to clean it. I have literally came there on a Saturday and done what I could do: sweep around, mop up, pick up garbage, take it out, whatever, just so Monday wouldn't be so bad. So all I'm saying is, since you allowed me this opportunity to speak, I would love to see whether or not the village sells this property or the village begins to find ways or resources to take care of it. I would love to see it, because more so for me now, I have literally, just as Bishop Davis has expressed, I've literally fell in love with the place. I literally have. It's a wonderful place with wonderful people. I know I've come to know each and every one of these people in some form or fashion, and you know, they enjoy it. For me to see them, they remind me of my grandma. They remind me of my aunts. They remind me of my mom. You know, so I respect everyone, and I have been chewed out by probably each and every one of them. But I have yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, because that's how I want someone to speak to my mom or my grandma or things in that nature. And I want to display that professionalism. But I also want, at the end of the day, I want things to be fixed, but I can only do so much. So thank you very much for this time. Appreciate it, trustees.
Thank you so much for your candor, Mr. Fields.
I just would like to say I thank everybody, first of all, for coming out this evening. Melanie Fitness Center have been dear to my heart since day one. I apologize. I wear like 30 different hats, maybe 70. I'm busier than a bee. And I apologize, but I'm gonna get over there to see you. And unfortunately, I hate to see Melanie Fitness Center go, but if it have to go, I would love to see it go in the right hands. I've been knowing the bishop for a very long time. I have nothing but good things to say about Bishop Davis. He have a love for people, I have a love for people, so therefore we have something in common. And it's unfortunately that we can't maintain the facility, and cleanliness is next to godliness. So I take offense to it's not being clean like it should be. Even when I was at the Department of Corrections and I worked in a department called sanitation, I took the detainees around and we cleaned. You know, you can take your glove, and it was clean for a jail. So Melody Fitness Center should be clean also. And the first person that we reached out to was Imperium on Blackstone. They came, they looked, they act like they was interested in the facility, and then like Trustee Muhammad said, nothing. And we will welcome anybody else. You know, we had another company, I forget their name, that came out to look at the facility, and then we didn't hear anything from them. Or if anybody else know, because I want this to be fair, but also I want the person that obtained the Melanie Fitness Center to care about our community and to care about the facility. So my personal feelings is I welcome Bishop Davis to put in a bid for the Melanie Fitness Center. And we don't want all of a sudden everybody coming up and say, well, you didn't ask us and you didn't do this and we didn't put out an RFP, so on and so forth. We didn't consult the attorney, and we actually did reach out to other people. So I wanted to be on record that we did reach out to other individuals to come and see the facility, and they had other plans. So this is a committee meeting. We're just discussing it. Glad you all came out. I would like to say happy holidays to you all. And I've been good all year long, so I'll be looking for my gift. Thank you.
Are there any other persons who want to address the body and the residents before we adjourn? If there is no more comments, then I'd like someone to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, roll call. Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee Muhammad? Aye. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.